Bush are jumping around. I mean,
Right, she was buddies with Bush.
yeah, she's a CIA agent. Stephen Paddock. And do not ask me for sources, but Stephen Paddock.
Who's that?
He was the guy that shot up the Vegas concert. That was a very tragic thing. Listen to this. The only guy that saw Stephen Paddock alive, his name is Jesus Campos. He was a guard at Mandalay Bay. He got interviewed nowhere else. You know where he got interviewed in the beginning?
Ellen. Really?
Weird. And then they went on, if you could find that clip, they went on with a weird like diagram of how it happened, and Ellen's like showing the people how it happened. Not like an emotional, like, how are you feeling? How are you holding up? It was a weird diagram of like, and then he went to the left and to the right. It was very strange to, look, what the hell's going on? This is a daytime.
All these staffers started to come out, not for nothing, but I know a guy, I know him very well, whose sister worked for her, who said, you were not allowed to make eye contact with Ellen in the halls of that show.
The Ellen situation.
Yeah.
You know, people found out that Ellen was mean, and all these people came out and said, Ellen's actually a and everybody, oh,
Yeah.
can't believe it. And she lost everything. She fell apart, disappeared, because people found out that this character that she was portraying in half an hour on a television show is not really who she was. My buddy Greg, who was one of her writers, was like, she's a piece of shit. Like, she's a monster.
Megyn Kelly and Joe Rogan are collaborating to expose Ellen DeGeneres in a way that has never been seen before. Behind that grin, what skeletons does Ellen conceal? Is that something juicier, or are those just amazing dance moves? It is clumsy, awkward, and hilarious. Spoiler alert, do not believe that midday television is dull.
Ellen's rough,
Ellen is like an old.
but it's a rough one now.
It's a rough one now because she was running Abu Ghraib in the back of her show.
It led to article after article of people being like, Ellen is
Have you ever had the feeling that there could be a little more going on behind the scenes when someone is so adored, so immaculate, and so unrelentingly kind? Enter Ellen DeGeneres, the queen of be kind speeches, the crown princess of kindness on daytime TV, and the charming, dancing, and likable celebrity who helped to build her brand. Then suddenly, two completely different but equally bold media creatures choose to stick a stick through that glossy exterior. Megyn Kelly and Joe Rogan, not just one.
See, like a lot of people saying that someone who seems so nice is not nice at all.
She doesn't seem nice, but that's people have a very poor judge of character. She doesn't seem nice. It seems forced. People that are like that all the time, she doesn't seem nice. It's very forced. And whatever, you're allowed to be right? You're allowed to be nasty to people. You're accomplished. You're a comedian. You did the whole thing. What you're not allowed to do is have a Guantanamo Bay situation in the backstage of your show where everybody's walking around afraid for their life, and it's like Abu Ghraib where they're hooked up to wires and they
Yes, you heard correctly. Both Megyn Kelly, the journalist who has made it her mission to cut through PR jargon like a hot knife through butter, and Joe Rogan, the podcast king who is known for interrogating everyone from fighters to conspiracy theories, decided to test Ellen's generosity. Spoiler alert, things became clumsy, embarrassing, and hilarious.
question for you on this. This is perfect for you. Because I'm seeing this week that there is an attempted comeback by somebody who did not cross one of those fateful lines of the misstepping on their sacred cows of gender or race or...
Yeah.
But she was said to be a nasty, and that's Ellen DeGeneres.
Yeah.
So her show got canceled after she had this testy exchange with Dakota Johnson, where something happened where Dakota said, oh, I had this birthday party, and Ellen said, well, why didn't you invite me? You didn't invite me. And she said, like, no, I did invite you, Ellen. That's not what happened. And Ellen had blown her off and then tried to play the victim on the set with her. Anyway, it led to article after article of people being like, Ellen is a nasty person.
Let us begin by discussing Joe Rogan. Rogan now views everything on his platform as if it were a gigantic cultural microscope, not even the poster child for being compassionate and seemingly untouchable. Imagine Rogan thinking, wait, how does this sweet gal image fit with all these murmurs about what occurs backstage? As he looks at Ellen in his typical no-nonsense manner. When celebrity PR stories do not add up, he is on the lookout.
Staffers started to come out, not for nothing, but I know a guy, I know him very well, whose sister worked for her, who said, you were not allowed to make eye contact with Ellen in the halls of that show. If you saw her, this is not a nice person. So she eventually got canceled, but now she's coming back. She's got a Netflix special. That's the right response.
Yeah.
She's got a Netflix special. And here's the capper. On the promo, and apparently there's now articles out about from people who have seen the preview. She plays the victim.
Joe's viewpoint was full-fledged cultural archaeology, not just gossip about celebrities. He delved into the murky details of a less enjoyable and affectionate and more stressful and poisonous job that were spoken in the hallways of Hollywood. People put up a cheery front in this kind of setting because, well, your career depends on it. Behind the scenes, however, it seemed to be a very other kind of show. Imagine that the supervisor who made the workplace feel anything but happy was the same woman who made us all want to dance along. Joe did not mince words. He depicted a stark contrast that made you cringe. The nice TV message, just one thing, the so-called cold shoulder behind the scenes, something very different. It was like watching a horror-themed Hallmark film, but you could not turn it off. However, Rogan's attention was not just on Ellen. He went one step farther and used Ellen as an illustration of a broader societal trend. Kindness is packaged like a product by a celebrity, who then puts it on a brand and wants us all to believe the fairy tale without inquiry.
Made progress with the strike.
They're picketing right now, so I think it's the early stages. I would think it might take a little bit with this one.
When someone crosses the writer strike, that's a dirty street. Do they cross the picket line?
Yeah, I've never seen anybody doing that yet.
Ellen did. I had a buddy of mine who was writing on Ellen. Everybody kind of knows now.
Yeah.
What she's really all about. And that's another one of those. Like, I'm so nice and I'm so sweet. Being behind the...
That may seem like enough to make some people uncomfortable, but that is just half the tale. Here comes Megyn Kelly, who attacked Ellen from a very different perspective, but with equally ruthless results. Kelly was putting on her investigative journalist hat and went straight for the corporate jugular, while Rogan was busy dissecting the cultural mythos. Kelly's strategy resembled a powerful magnifying glass directed at Ellen's empire, the entire corporate apparatus behind the scenes, not simply the beaming TV personality, litigation, employee grievances, alleged inhumane working conditions, and other issues that are often overlooked in glossy magazines and positive interviews. She wasted no time on politeness. Rather, Kelly carefully drew a distinction between the corporate reality and Ellen's public be kind motto. Let us say it was not exactly kindness on full display. It turns out that the smiling host of a daytime talk show may not have been running a daycare, but rather a pressure cooker where employees were juggling more than just scripts due to production demands, ratings, and deadlines.
For me, and she actually has the nerve to say that she was run out of Hollywood. This person
she has with $100 million in her pocket.
450 million, according to Forbes. That's a low estimate.
Yeah.
Because so now she's out there saying, I was run out of Hollywood. She's actually reportedly complaining about how hard it is for women in America with the double standard.
Look at Oprah, how hard it is for her.
Oh, she's got, like 10 houses, Ellen DeGeneres?
Michelle Obama, look how hard it is for women in America. They're hurting.
They're going to let her back in, Rob, because she's a left. And she didn't hit.
Kelly criticized the media for frequently skirting Ellen's scandals and defending the brand rather than questioning it. She did not play that game though. Rather of focusing on the stage grins, Kelly highlighted such contrasts, shifting the focus to the messy human reality. It was more about exposing the underlying layers of celebrity branding than it was about scandal. What do you get when you combine Megyn Kelly and Joe Rogan? It is a combination of investigative journalism, cultural analysis, and entertainment. While Kelly's fact-driven in-depth analysis revealed the corporate underbelly of the Ellen brand, Rogan's unvarnished, cynical critiques set the scene by questioning the narrative. Neither of them desired a confrontation or a face-to-face encounter. No, it was all about analysis, narrative, and a few well-placed sarcastics that made Ellen's reputation seem a little less perfect. But why is this important? Because it involves more than simply a single celebrity's reputation suffering. It is a mirror of how we consume celebrity culture, how we blindly accept glossy storylines, and how the messy, complex, and even humorous truth must occasionally be revealed. It serves as a reminder that there may be a completely different tale behind each be kind phrase.
Look at it.
Oh, well, you know where that is too, right? The similar image to that, right?
No.
I know Jamie does.
What is it?
It's on the set of a famous talk show that's now not on anymore.
Oh, Ellen? Was that Ellen?
Yeah.
Really?
Just look at the temple and then look at the...
Let me see Ellen's background.
It is important to remember that this is not a cruel witch hunt. Rather, it is more like revealing a well-planned magic act. The dazzle is genuine, but what about the mirrors and smoke? Real too. When you are about to make a difficult life decision, Joe Rogan and Megyn Kelly's combined efforts are like that friend who gives you the brutally honest truth. It hurts, it surprises you, and it may even make you chuckle. What implications does this have for Ellen's legacy then? Her daytime kingdom has recently become less magical and more reality TV drama, and the Be Kind crown may suddenly have some dents. Fans may become a little more skeptical of those dance steps and endearing smiles. Perhaps, just possibly, other celebrities will begin to feel scrutinized, realizing that being kind as a brand is no longer a surefire way to avoid criticism. The worst part is still to come. Rogan and Kelly were able to deliver these strikes without having to face Ellen directly. There were no in-person encounters, trivial Twitter arguments, or last-ditch efforts to contain the damage. Only astute observations, in-depth analyses, and a readiness to voice their opinions. These days, that is how you expose someone, with facts and unafraid opinion, not with theatrics.
She's a and she didn't hit one of their sacred cows. That's their bread and butter.
Well, I think everyone, I will say, like, the resentment, I think everyone should have a chance for reconciliation. I don't think Jesus exempted anybody. And so I do, while it does, because I have been allowed back in, but I don't hold any grievance and resentment. It's very important. And I would just say for Ellen, the resentment, you have to know, you have to get over resentment to whatever addiction or addictive qualities happen to get over.
This is the true bombshell of the Ellen DeGeneres expose by Joe Rogan and Megyn Kelly. It goes beyond a single celebrity being the target of a scandal. No, it is more significant than that. The typical echo chamber where celebrity tales are either praised or ignored is broken when these two powerful figures from completely different media universes collaborate, whether on purpose or not. Consider it. On the front lines of the counterculture is Joe Rogan, the man who made a podcast empire by allowing fighters, conspiracy theorists, and eccentric geniuses to ramble for hours on end. In the meantime, Megyn Kelly, the polished, well-dressed journalist who is accustomed to slicing through PR and political spin, expertly displays her mainstream media prowess. When a rock is thrown into a perfectly motionless pond, the result is a tsunami rather than ripples. Joe's audience is known for being skeptical and refusing to believe the marketing hype, the group that enjoys exposing cultural layers and pointing out the bullshit wherever it can be found, especially if it is buried deep.
Bush, you're jumping around. I mean,
Right, she was buddies with Bush.
yeah, she's a CIA agent. Stephen Paddock, and do not ask me for sources, but Stephen Paddock, who's that? He was the guy that shot up the Vegas concert. That was a very tragic thing. Listen to this. The only guy that saw Stephen Paddock alive, his name is Jesus Campos. He was a guard at Mandalay Bay. He got interviewed nowhere else. You know where he got interviewed in the beginning?
Ellen. Really?
Weird. And then they went on, if you could find that clip, they went on with a weird like diagram of how it happened, and Ellen's like showing the people how it happened. Not like an emotional, like, how are you feeling? How are you holding up? It was a weird diagram of like, and then he went to the left and to the right. It was very strange to look. What the hell's going on? This is a daytime.
Their combined voices produce a potent feedback loop that upends the basis of celebrity adoration. And why is this important? Because people no longer just sit back and eat popcorn. Rogan and Kelly are responsible for this enormous surge of rekindled interest and skepticism. How much of what we see is just PR smoke and mirrors is a question that people are beginning to consider. How genuine is the benevolence that the major players in the entertainment business are trying to sell us? All of a sudden, the notion of celebrities as immaculate, holy figures seems a bit archaic and naive. This is a huge cultural transformation, not simply Ellen's issue. Fans are ravenous for stories that go beyond the glossy exterior and want the real thing, flaws and all. The gap between the well-maintained public persona and the chaotic private life is revealed by this new scrutiny, shattering the bubble of celebrity culture as a whole. Furthermore, it is intriguing because it challenges our preconceived notions about how we consume entertainment and regard celebrities. It feels less like inspiration and more like like a well-written sales presentation when a Be Kind tagline becomes a brand strategy rather than a lived philosophy. In addition to gasping or laughing at the drama, people are considering what authenticity actually means in a society when public relations tactics and social media filters rule. What is better than that? Ellen did not start Twitter wars or storm off stage throughout any of this. There were no shouting matches on live television or spectacular in-person confrontations. This exposure was brought about by incisive analysis, compelling narratives, and a healthy dose of skepticism, the kind that does not only make you want to click away, but truly gets you thinking. It is a welcome diversion from the cliched celebrity feuds that never seem to stop.
To tell you something, yeah, it does an odd look with all those buttons. Like, why do you have so many wrist buttons?
It was given to her at Langley.
The only reason why you have that many wrist buttons if you're looking to clothesline somebody.
Yeah, look at her. Look at her. Everyone says she looks so friendly. She looks friendly.
Yeah, she does look very military.
Yeah, she's a militant woman.
With a very expensive watch.
She dealt with a lot of discrimination, which it came out. It was very sad, but then she joined the CIA.
Her house got broken into while she was at home.
Really?
Yeah. She got a dope place in Montecito.
And they broke in while she was there.
Yeah.
And those people are still being tortured to this day.
Probably.
They're still in an underground jail.
Rogan and Kelly demonstrated that it is possible to reveal inconsistencies, challenge narratives, and hold individuals responsible without the clumsiness of trivial public disputes. This maintained the conversation's entertainment value while giving it a more somber and thought-provoking tone. This change may have some really crazy repercussions in the future.
All people on Earth to be feeling sorry for herself, Ellen DeGeneres won't be on the list.
She should at least, but make a real apology and do it.
There's no apology. It's just woe is me. I was run out of Hollywood as she speaks from this grandiose stage on Netflix. Hello, you haven't been canceled if you are doing a Netflix special. She got $20 million for the one before this. I'm sure she.
Once heedlessly following Ellen's every step, fans may begin to doubt other celebrities who have such immaculate photos. The attention may shift to the nuanced realities of other well-known companies, making it more difficult for any Be Kind deed to be unnoticed. Indeed, this may mark the beginning of a new phase in celebrity culture when being real is not merely a catchphrase, but rather a required quality. Perhaps audiences are sick of kindness as a costume and prefer real humanity, which is why Ellen's pleasant kingdom suddenly seems a little fragile. In other words, Megyn Kelly's journalistic rigor and Joe Rogan's counterculture influence do not only drag Ellen through the mud, it is a wake-up call for those of us who have been contentedly consuming celebrity PR and a cultural reset button, better narratives, actual people behind the characters, and a little less flawless beauty on our screens are what we are calling for. And to be honest, that is far more fulfilling than any drama on reality TV.